Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities we may have today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. So let's start off here. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom, and we are on the daily. So what's the daily showing us? If I'm honest, I think it's a bit of a range at the moment, which isn't a bad thing, right? But it's a bit harder to gain a bias from. Once we're in that range, pretty much be waiting for an expansion either to the upside or the downside, right? So there are some early signs possibly, as I've been saying in my previous videos, where our market structure looked to have shifted around here when we closed above these previous internal highs there, after taking all this higher time frame external sell side liquidity. In fact, let me just go up to the weekly for a second. You'll see on the weekly we're heavily bearish. Okay, we took some sell side liquidity, sort of dipped into this fair value gap here on the weekly, and that gave us that bullish response, right? And then if we look at this weekly leg here, we're very much within the discount. So of course that's what the daily read is, that's what this sell side liquidity I'm referring to. We still have more of an imbalance, right, as we did on the weekly. We also do on the daily with that daily order block there for a possible draw on price to continue going lower. But as we saw on the weekly, we have taken a good source of sell side liquidity as well, which gave us that possible market structure shift. Now in my opinion, daily is ranging in a way, so it's a bit harder for me to see a very clear daily bias, right? Because if I look at our recent daily price action, there's not a lot to go on in terms of POIs, right? So we don't have imbalance or clear order block. We have this old order block here which price has passed through, right, when it opened up with that gap. So not sure if this will impact price at all. All we've got to go on is buy side liquidity here at the previous weekly high, right, and buy side liquidity here at the previous weekly low. Those are our closest sources of liquidity. So we're going to head most likely towards either one of those, but we need to come out of this range and price to show its obvious direction on the daily, right? We can see as well on DXY this sort of range in price action here, so it's nothing special. Market hasn't expanded out and gone back into a trend yet. So what we can see so far today is, of course, price has then opened up with a gap again below the previous daily low. We're having a bit of a bullish morning here, so we'll see where price is heading towards on the lower time frames. I'm probably going to use more of the 4-hour time frame to see if there's any clarity on a direction, because I can't see one too clearly on the daily. So let's go down to the 4-hour. So if I analyze the 4-hour picture, we can read we was in a bullish trend, okay, making these high highs, high lows, right? That's where it looked like we had that market shift from that sell side liquidity on a high time frame. Then once we got to these highs, mitigating some POIs to the left, we swept our liquidity and began to break down, pulled back to, well, that's that daily imbalance, mitigated that, got into the 4-hour imbalance and order block, rejected that and continued moving down. Price then found some support at this imbalance POI here and order block and pulled back, eventually actually taking buy side liquidity but failing to close above, right? So rejection of that area, SMC divergence as well, indicating lower prices. And then since then we've moved down. So I do think the 4-hour gives more of a bearish bias, okay, seeing as I don't have a clear one from the daily. So buy side liquidity, SMC divergence, price is broken down, so you can see we made this low, lower high, lower low. So internal structure shift below this low here, this swing low. But we have now come down to this 4-hour order block POI. Price kind of gapped open below it, so we'll see where price goes from here. And then above we have left behind an order block here. I would have loved for there to have been an imbalance immediately after, but these are those news wicks. This price action here was driven by news, so we've got an order block there nonetheless. We may be drawn towards, and we may see some resistance from that area there to look for something to continue going short from. So we have sell side liquidity lows here. We also have a sell side liquidity low here as well now, right? That price may target in the future. We've left behind an imbalance here, but it doesn't look premium enough maybe, but we'll see how price reacts around here anyway. Right, so I'll mark that in just for now. So I hope that's clear. On the 4 hour, what I see, we had that leg down, came up, took buy side liquidity, ultimately rejected to close above as well, so a good sweeping close, and then we're breaking down internally, which would be probably clearer on the 1 hour as well. When we went, we respected this small imbalance here. Okay, the candle bodies are just spiking into it, and obviously there's a big order block behind. Okay, and price still closed below that imbalance, made that further leg down. Okay, so again, we may reject off this POI here and come back towards one of our POIs, maybe this imbalance. We'll see if we reject that, maybe this order block. Okay, so we'll see if that happens. Price has made a swing low, and we've got sell side liquidity resting below, and then ultimately this previous weekly low as well. So I am leaning towards that bearish bias. Same here on DXY, of course. We swept sell side liquidity below these lows where the SMC was, made a higher low here. We've gone on to make a high, breaking above these. We're also in this 4 hour imbalance here, which may, cause some sort of retracement, some sort of pullback internally there for price back up towards these zones here. So let's go down to the hourly. Let's see if that is aligned with our 4 hour. So on the hourly, similar picture to the 4 hour, of course, was making those high highs, high lows. Price then rejected this area here. Even on the hourly, we closed below. Right, made a low. You could say we had our market shift around here, but then we also made this lower high and clear lower low again with another market shift around this zone here, which is what I'm representing with this line. Okay, so what I've done is I've drawn out this range from this high to this low from today. Right, so I do see this as our possible discount and up here into our premium. Right, so when we're looking for a premium POI for us to go short from, right, with this possible short bias, we have our 4 hour order block here, but then we have a 1 hour order block just below here. So we could refine that a little and use this 1 hour order block there now. So I'll just move that there for the time being, right, because we have a clear 1 hour order block that had an imbalance, right? The imbalance was respected already during that news spike, but we could revisit the order block back in the premium for further lower prices. Okay, we've taken plenty of sell side liquidity from these swing lows. We have a new target here, and like I said, here as well. So we have that 4 hour imbalance just below, but that is around equilibrium or the discount. So I'll remove that for now. I think the more high probability would be up here, but again, I'll monitor this area anyway. I have the same order block here on DXY as well, right? That price may pull back down to in this zone here. Either way, if we get a corrective type of pullback to this zone, building up sell side liquidity lows, right, that'd be a nice trend line to aim for if price continues doing this kind of price action here up into this zone to then liquidate this whole trend line here. So that's what I'm thinking. We'll see how price moves up until that point. In the time being, right, because I said the higher time frame daily is a bit more unclear, we may be in sort of more of a range environment. I would say the opportunities are a bit more lower probability, right? And even more so if we want to try and trade back up to this premium here, right, against the possible 1 hour, 4 hour bias to the downside, then it's even less so. Okay, but there may be opportunities to trade back up into this premium here, right? So not saying there won't be, but they're definitely more lower probability. So with that said, let's go down to the M15. Let's see what the price action looks like for some possible trades today. Right, so we notice within this 1 hour bearish leg, right, this 4 hour internal bearish leg as well, that where we have that 1 hour order block and 4 hour order block, we also have an M15 order block. Okay, so price action may, if it does pull up into this zone here, has good confluences on multiple time frames for us to trade from, right? So if we were to come back up into this zone, I don't know if I would set my order here, right, with stop loss above the high, but then we can wait for that breakdown, okay, price to react to this zone here, have an expansion out of it, maybe take some internal buy side liquidity if we come up correctively, and then we can look for our pullback to our POI, which would be an order block with imbalance preferably, to trade back down towards the discount. Right, so we'd be in the premium M15 order block, within the 1 hour order block, within that 4 hour order block, within a bearish leg, right, where price looks to have shifted market structure to go to the downside. And then we could have our order block here, if one is to shape up, set our order, stop loss just above the high, right, targeting wherever you target for your strategy. We'd have our break of structure internally on the M15 around here. We'd have our possible corrective pullback, leaving some inducement just below where our order is, and that's something I'll be looking for. Obviously, again, possible internal buy side liquidity sweep here, which sponsors that break of structure as well below that internal swing low. Okay, so something like this is possible. What we're seeing today from this downside, from where price currently is, like I said, we could have these even lower probability moves back up. Right, so we're sweeping some internal liquidity here. I'd probably prefer if we swept the Asia lows, something like that. Right, we have taken sell side liquidity already because we did open up below previous daily lows, of course. But let's say if price were to make some further price action down here, take out these lows for the Asia sell side liquidity, and then break above, and then obviously the same pattern to what we'd be going short from. We could also look for longs from these lows here, possibly, right? So break of structure above our internal swing high, and then possible corrective pullback and some sort of order to go long, stop loss just below lows, back up towards this premium zone here. Right, so something similar to this, possibly, right? Some sell side liquidity swept around here. Right, we've just swept some internal liquidity. Maybe price will get that momentum and break out, and you could see this similar pattern happen from up here in price. It may not come down as low as this, but I would prefer these shorts from up in this zone here. So that's everything. I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.